Assessment and control of physical and psychological hazards. A physical hazard is an agent, factor, or circumstance that can cause harm without contact. They can be classified as a type of occupational hazard or environmental hazard. Physical hazards are based on the intrinsic properties of the chemical. There are 5 main classes of physical hazard, namely explosive, flammable, oxidizing, gases, under pressure, and corrosive to metals. Physical hazards are a common source of injuries in many industries. They are perhaps unavoidable in certain industries, such as construction and mining, but over time, people have developed safety methods and procedures to manage the risk of physical danger in the workplace. Employment of children may pose special problems. On the other hand, what are psychological hazards? Psychological hazards are elements of the work environment, management practices that pose a risk to mental health and well-being. Every day, we are exposed to hazards and risks. Some hazards may be obvious, like boiling the kettle for your morning wake-up coffee or driving to work, while others are often not as visible or can be overlooked. Here are ways to develop a positive change to the physical and psychological hazards. Number 1. Hazard assessment. 2. Develop a policy on hazards. 3. Work training. Worker training is a critical component of any safety program. And the last one, encourage reporting and incident investigation. How can we disseminate the information? An example of this transmission of the information is in the fields of advertising, public announcement, and speech. My realizations. Every day we are exposed to hazards and risks. Exposure to hazards can negatively impact a worker's physical and mental health. People sometimes develop negative coping behaviors to deal with psychological hazards, such as an alcohol or drug abuse, which can create further psychological distress or possibly lead to addictions. On the other hand, working alone can remove us from access to help that would otherwise be available. Lone workers are also disadvantaged when it comes to recognizing and responding to the physical hazards in their environment. Administrative control reduces risk by changing work processes and activities to make them safer.
It's not for me to say you love. Go with the brothers, boo, you know how we do. It's go with the brothers, boo, you know how we do. It's not for me to say.